Yo, what's up, YouTube? My name's R.O. Alright, my hair looks a little crazy, Trying to get a haircut these days, but it's whatever. Anyways, this is chapter 5 on this book from the Napoleon Hill Foundation, Think and Grow Rich. Or no, not Think and Grow Rich. It comes from Think and Grow Rich, but it's actually 3 feet from gold. But this is chapter 5, and this is like my affirmation video. I basically like wrote the book here. Just copied the book to affirm to myself positive thoughts. And then I'm just gonna speak it out loud, so then I'll think about it like 2 times. But anyways, you can see like all of my videos, they're all the same. It's the same thing. But anyways, it's chapter 5, and this is outstanding. This is how you create your life in advance. Greg listened to 9 messages that David had left on his cell phone, each more desperate than the one before. Listening was painful. That is, it made Greg uncomfortable. His adopted brother had a lot of nerve, dumping his negativity on Greg and increasing his burdens. I have enough problems, Greg said to himself, yet he loved David and didn't want him to get any sicker than he already was. It seemed that the booze had really taken hold of his life. I would wonder if there was anything I can do to help. Greg considered as he dialed David's number. Yeah, came to the answering voice. Dave, who else? Sorry to bother you. What? Sorry, what? You have to interrupt this precious personal schedule. Call me back. I just had about given up on you. Greg wanted to say that he had a long since given up on Dave, but for a second he held back. Then he said it aloud. I've almost given up on you too. Thanks a lot. What have I ever done to you? It's what you're doing to yourself. The drinking. I can tell you know when you're drunk. Right now I can tell you're not. But I've got one hell of a hangover, the other said. I believe you. Listen, you should get help. There are places you could go, therapists, something like that. I can afford it. I told you in one of the messages that I've lost my job. Yeah, sorry. I don't have any insurance coverage and I'll be short on my rent this month. David didn't take the next step and ask Greg for a loan, though that was clearly the direction he was headed. Greg cut him off by saying, well, I'm broke too, at least until the next contract I am able to get. Things are tough all around. Yeah, though, tough all around. See ya. The line went dead when Greg landed in his Las Vegas a few days later. His focus wasn't on David or Maya and was far from the fabulous Strip. As always, there was a convention in town, and the taxi line in front of the airport seemed a mile long. Waiting impatiently for his turn, he could not help but overhear a conversation taking place behind him. 2 women were sharing, now excited they were after visiting San Diego. Excuse me, he said. I couldn't help but notice you are talking about my hometown. I was born and raised there. The lady said, lucky you. What a great place. They started explaining how much they had enjoyed America's finest city. What had seemed like a dreary situation being stranded in line and becoming a great opportunity to meet 2 young women. Greg discovered that he had just received a prestigious award. They had just received a prestigious award called the Toya as one of the 10 outstanding young Americans, those who exemplify the best attributes of the nation's young people age 18 through 40. It was also interesting to learn that of the more than 600 young Americans honored since 1940, many went on to great achievements, such as John F. Kennedy, Gerald R. Ford, Anne Bancroft, Gail Sayers, Elvis Presley, Dr. Catherine Sullivan, Larry Holmes, and Bill Clinton, just to name a few. The event had even been held a few nights earlier on the West Coast, and now these 2 winners were stopping by Vegas on tour. The first young lady, Lauren Nesson, had a sparkle in her eye as she was able to be on such a list of recipients. As she talked about the other people nominated, her following award winner, Erin Gruwell, cut off her and began singing her praises. Actually, Greg, you know May well. Lauren from TV, really? How can you not recognize a smile like that? She was Miss America in 2007. Nice. Greg managed awkwardly. How fun is that? With a smile that could blot out the sun, Lauren replied, "It's an honor." Erin kept on about Lauren. In addition to being a beauty queen, she's also been a part of something very special. She is helping protect children from online predators. Now, I know you, Greg said. You dressed as a decoy to catch all of those bad guys. One and the same, Lauren said. Someone needs to keep these people off the streets. When I was younger, I was personally approached by someone and knew even at the age that I wanted to become a part and stop it. Way to go, Greg said. Then he turned to Erin and asked, what about you? Before she could respond, Lauren grabbed Greg by the arm and began telling her friend's story. Did you see the movie Freedom Writers? Without waiting for an answer, she said, Hilary Swank plays a school teacher to 150 inner city kids from California after the riots. Oh yes, that was great. And the book was a bestseller too, right? As the line moved forward, Lauren held on to her new friend and with an excited voice said, that's it. In fact, it sold over 1 million copies. Well, the kids were considered outcasts. They didn't like recording or writing, or each other for that matter, and all they seemed to know was violence. Excuse me. Then in walks this bubbly school teacher who tries to bring them together. I remember it well, Greg said. She got the kids to start writing and helped them find their own voices by having them write about their lives. Very good. Congratulated, Lauren Nelson. You do know the story. And this is that teacher. She pointed to Erin Gruwell. I was just a catalyst for these young people, nothing more. True stories they told were their own, based on their own personal experiences. Erin seemed genuinely modest about the whole thing. There are always challenges from day one, and there still are. We have death threats, letters from the Ku Klux Klan, people tried to ban us. The book was even sent to the FBI to investigate. Can you believe that? But that never stops there. That never stopped us. And thank goodness we kept going. Because these kids' stories have touched millions of lives. The project is even being used in Ivy League schools to help future teachers. Amazing. Greg managed, but the main thing I've learned, Erin continued, is to be careful of what you ask for. Feeling that she was about to say something profound, Greg reached into his pocket and pulled out his notepad. She explained, remember, goals are just aspirations until they become real. Then they become responsibilities. Lauren added, we may desire a family, a new car, or a big job promotion, and then once we attain that, it becomes our new responsibility. Because then we have a family that relies on us and to care for, and that needs insurance and upkeep. And once we get that corner office, we take on tasks that are even greater than we had before. Erin said that's exactly true. And now that we have all of this attention and have people relying on us, our task is more powerful than ever. We must keep this mission going around the world, sharing that each of us is very important and has something to contribute. We couldn't stop now, even if we wanted to. But the good news is that we love what we are doing and we have no intention of letting up. It seemed no matter where Greg was or whom he found himself speaking to, the topic of finding one's purpose was a recurring theme. What about you, Lauren? Greg asked. What keeps you going? In my case, I don't even have as a dramatic story as Erin's. In fact, I can say that my life has been a complete opposite of the perspective than the kids she's worked with. What keeps me going is what I call focused faith. Greg and Erin looked at Lauren inquisitively. Excuse me. Let me explain. It's an affirmation. She went on. In today's world, it seems people are measured by how many things they can juggle at one time. We call it multitasking. How many balls can you keep in the air at any given moment? Then we wonder why nothing ever gets accomplished. What I can tell you is this. In my case, fixing my mind on a clear goal and a mission at one time, trusting that it will work out, has been a great strategy. It has helped me accomplish tremendous things. It even helped me become Miss America. So that now I can use my success to concentrate my attention on helping children who need it most. I think of it as like skiing. Skiing? Aaron asked. Greg listened intently. Think of it this way. Imagine being a skier at the top of the mountain where your goal is to get down to the bottom. It may be challenging, yet you have faith in your ability to make it true. To make it to the clubhouse where the fire is warm and a hot cup of coffee is waiting, hot cup of cocoa is waiting. Now, many people take their eyes off the end game and once they get started, and then they lose sight of their goal, or even worse, they lose their faith and redirect their attention towards what they fear most, only seeing the obstacles along the way. Like black ice, snowboarders, or those pesky trees that seem to jump out of nowhere, Greg laughed. Once these people experience a setback or a fall, they may give up, take off their skis, and ask the safety team to take them down. They quit on achieving their goals because they failed to keep their eyes on the prize and to believe in their own talents, making it to the clubhouse in this case. Aaron said, exactly. Now, imagine these same people retaining their focused faith that they can overcome those challenges, which are just as part of the journey. So when they hit a bump and take a fall, they get back up knowing that there's just one more obstacle out of the way and that they're getting closer to their goal, the bottom of the hill. As they neared the front line, they said their goodbyes. Greg offered the ladies his cab and waited for the next one. He was surprised at his own lack of impatience as he stood reflecting on what he had learned. Once in the taxi, he dialed Maya's number on his cell phone. He was irritated that she did not pick up, forcing him to leave a message, the most recent of several, until he had done the same thing to David. Well, that was my affirmation video that I wrote here from the book 3 Feet from Gold from the Napoleon Hill Foundation. That was chapter 5. That was outstanding. And like I said, I just wrote it here. You can go to all my other videos, it's the same thing. But I hope you were listening. My name's R.O. and this is per minute, so like I said, I hope you were listening. My name is R.O. and I'll talk to you later. Let's get that right.